The Apple Watch Ultra 3 has finally arrived, and at first glance, it looks almost identical to the Ultra 2. The body, the design, even the bands, it all feels very familiar. But as always with Apple, the real story is not about what you see on the surface. It's about the details that add up to something much bigger. Today, we're going deep into those details, to understand whether this is really just a spec bump or something that changes the game for the right person. Let's start with the basics. The price. Apple decided to keep the Ultra 3 at $799, the same as the Ultra 2. Now, that's still a serious price tag for a smartwatch, but when you consider the rising cost of competing watches from brands like Garmin, it's actually a bold move to keep it flat. You're not paying more, yet you're getting new features. For Apple, that's unusual. So, from the start, it feels like they wanted this watch to be more than just another yearly refresh. When you pick up the Ultra 3, the design is going to feel instantly familiar. The size, the titanium body, the ruggedness, it's all the same as the Ultra 2. In fact, if you placed the Ultra 2 and Ultra 3 side by side, most people wouldn't be able to tell them apart. Some early reviewers even thought the Ultra 3 was thinner, but that's not the case. The dimensions haven't changed at all. They are identical. The only very subtle difference is in the black finish, which looks slightly lighter, almost a gray tone instead of deep black. But again, that's the kind of detail only the most observant eyes will notice. Flip the watch over, and you'll see the same heart rate sensor array. That's not a bad thing, because Apple has consistently been one of the most accurate when it comes to optical heart rate monitoring. Whether you're running, cycling, or just doing a workout at the gym, the readings are near the top of the industry. The Ultra 3 carries that tradition forward. The GPS accuracy also continues to impress. Tracks are sharp and reliable, with maybe a tiny improvement compared to the Ultra 2, but nothing dramatic. In other words, you're still getting excellent tracking, but don't expect a revolution in this area. The included bands are also familiar, but Apple did add small refinements. You still get the Alpine Loop, Trail Loop, or Ocean Band as your standard options. However, there are new colorways, including a fresh green option that looks unique. More importantly, the Trail Loop now includes reflective stitching, making you more visible in low-light conditions. It's a clever upgrade that blends into the design while improving safety. If you're someone who runs or cycles at night, that tiny change could make a big difference. Inside the Ultra 3, Apple upgraded the processor to the new S10 chip. On paper, that sounds like a big leap over the S9 and the Ultra 2. But here's the truth, in day-to-day use, you won't notice much difference. The Apple Watch has been fast for years. Apps open instantly, animations are smooth, and there isn't much you can do on a watch that requires heavy processing. So yes, the S10 is newer and more efficient, but the user experience feels almost the same as before. Now, let's talk about the display. This is where Apple made a few small but meaningful changes. First, the display is slightly bigger, about 5% larger compared to the Ultra 2. That may not sound like much, and in practice, it really isn't a game changer. But when you're using apps that fill the entire screen, the extra space is noticeable. Apple also introduced wide-angle OLED LTPO3 technology, which improves visibility at sharp angles. In most situations, the difference is minor. But if you're glancing at your watch quickly while running or cycling, it does feel a little easier to read. The always-on display has also been enhanced to show second intervals, which is helpful for activities that require precise timing. Brightness remains the same at a blazing 3000 nits, which is plenty bright even under harsh sunlight. This means you can confidently take the Ultra 3 outdoors and never struggle to see what's on the screen. Apple was already leading in this area, and they've kept that lead here. Connectivity also got a major update. The Ultra 3 now supports full 5G. This means faster downloads when you're not near Wi-Fi and not paired to your phone. For most people, that doesn't sound huge, after all, how often are you downloading apps or streaming podcasts directly on your watch? But there are scenarios where it makes a difference. If you're on a run without your phone and you want to stream music, or if you need to download an app on the go, 5G makes it much quicker and more reliable. Plus, the improved efficiency of 5G also helps with battery life. But here's the real star of the show: satellite connectivity. This is the feature that takes the Ultra 3 from a small update to a potentially life-saving upgrade. Satellite communication is not just about emergencies, although that's obviously critical. Yes, if you get lost, injured, or stranded without cell service, you can trigger SOS from your watch. It connects to low Earth orbit satellites, sends your location and emergency details, and even allows two-way communication with responders. That alone could justify the Ultra 3 for people who spend time in remote areas. But Apple went further. They also allow recreational use of satellite messaging. This means you can send a text, share your location, or check in with someone, even when you're completely off the grid. Imagine you're hiking, setting up camp, or just running late. You can let your family know where you are without needing cell service. Now, it's not a live tracking system. You can only send location updates every 15 minutes. But for peace of mind, that's still powerful. Of course, there are some limitations. To use messaging and location sharing over satellite, you need a carrier plan. You can't just rely on Bluetooth pairing. And SMS messaging requires you to be paired to an iPhone that's turned on and connected to a network. Also, only 3 countries currently support satellite messaging: USA, Canada, and Mexico. The SOS function, however, works in 17 countries, which matches the iPhone satellite coverage. So it's not yet global, but it's expanding. The technology behind this is fascinating. Apple uses Globalstar's low Earth orbit satellites, the same system found in the iPhone. These satellites move across the sky, which increases your chances of connecting, even if you're in a narrow canyon or blocked area. Once the connection is made, you don't have to hold your wrist up the entire time. You can drop your arm, and the connection stays active until the satellite passes out of range. That's a small but very user-friendly detail that makes the system easier than you'd expect. All of this is impressive, but we also need to talk about battery life, because satellite communication and 5G can drain power. Apple claims the Ultra 3 delivers up to 42 hours of normal use, compared to 36 on the Ultra 2. In low-power mode, you still get up to 72 hours, which is the same as before. In my experience, those numbers hold up. Even with GPS activities, the Ultra 3 comfortably lasted 2 days with the always-on display enabled. Turning that off extended the battery to nearly 3 days. During workouts, the efficiency is better too. For example, using LTE low-power mode while running, with GPS and heart rate accuracy maintained, the Ultra 3 drained only about 4% per hour. That translates to around 25 hours of continuous runtime, which is a serious improvement for long-distance runners or hikers. Charging has also improved. While the overall time from 0 to full remains about the same, the Ultra 3 charges faster in the early stages. You can go from almost empty to about 30% very quickly, which is great if you're in a rush. Just 15 minutes on the charger can give you enough juice to last through the rest of your day. It's small details like this that make the Ultra 3 easier to live with. So far, we've talked about design, hardware, display, connectivity, satellite, and battery. But the experience of the Ultra 3 is also shaped by software, and that's where watchOS 26 comes in. Apple added a new interface style called Liquid Glass, which brings more gradients and blur effects to the UI. It looks modern and polished, even if it doesn't change the way you use the watch. There are also new watch faces, like Waypoint, which highlights recent saved locations such as where you parked your car. Rotate your wrist, and the watch face shifts to point them out. It's simple, but fun and practical. The workout app has been refreshed as well. It's easier to navigate, though it still lacks built-in maps during activities, which is surprising. There's also a workout buddy feature that gives motivational feedback during runs. And for sleep, Apple introduced a new sleep score system. It provides a simple 0 to 100 rating based on duration, bedtime, and interruptions. Interestingly, it ignores things like HRV or skin temperature, which competitors like Garmin include. So the score may feel a bit generous at times. What's cool is that the Apple Health app now collects sleep scores from multiple sources, not just the Apple Watch. If you use another device, like Garmin, and sync it with Apple Health, you'll still see a sleep score history inside the app. That's a smart, inclusive move. Another important health feature is hypertension notifications. This isn't the same as blood pressure monitoring. The watch doesn't measure your blood pressure directly. Instead, it tracks trends over time, and if it detects unusual patterns, it sends you a notification. From there, you can manually log your readings with a cuff, or follow up with your doctor. It's more of an early warning system than a direct measurement tool, but it's still valuable. Finally, the fitness app on the iPhone has been upgraded to work better with the watch. You can now create custom workouts on your phone, which then sync instantly to your Apple Watch. Before, you had to build those workouts on the tiny watch screen, which wasn't convenient. Now it's much smoother, and it works across all activities, not just cycling. Real-time data mirroring on the phone also adds flexibility. You can glance at your phone while working out and see your stats live, without relying solely on the watch.